This is Charter's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerantz. Thank you so much for joining us. Our guest is Jonathan Goldsmith. You know Jonathan because he plays the most interesting man in the world in the Dos Equis commercial campaign, which runs nationally. Congratulations on that. We'll talk about that momentarily. First, I want to talk to you about an organization that really touches a lot of people's hearts in a lot of ways. It's called the Sabre Foundation. Tell us about it.
I will. Ever since I've been a kid, I've been crazy about tigers.
Who hasn't?
You bet. Yeah, I had a little stuffed toy when I was a kid, and it was my favorite thing. And I had the good fortune about 10 years ago, I was living on the western slope of the Sierra, and somebody said, hey, there's a crazy guy that has some Siberian tigers.
Really?
Tracked him down. Very, very interesting man. His name is Peter Renzo, who has devoted his life to working with these exquisite animals. As you know, they're about to be extinct.
Is that true?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think there's 100 of them in the world,
You're
in
kidding.
the wilds. No, absolutely not. And I went to this strange compound, oddly enough, not too close to too many other houses.
Which is appropriate.
Yes, indeed. And I saw the most exquisite tiger cubs and the parents. I was able to hold these 30-pound cubs. And I got to know Pete. And 7 years later, I went back. He's still struggling now. At the time, he was in Nevada City, California. Now he's up in outside of Fernley, Nevada, still struggling. And the 30-pound cub now weighs 700 pounds.
Now, were these cubs rescued? Had they been in a home they shouldn't have been in? Or do you know how they got to Mr. Renzo?
No, I don't know how. He now has 6 tigers. I don't know how he originally got the parents. I don't know. But I believe, if I remember correctly, a zoo or a facility couldn't take care of it. So this man was involved with an animal behaviorist whose specialty was tigers, and he sat at his feet. He was his disciple, and he made it his life's work. He was married at one time to a very well-known person, and he was so dedicated to these animals that that marriage went apart. But his love affair kept going, struggled, had nothing for himself, gave everything to these animals.
Now, I understand that you, working with Mr. Renzo, are looking to expand the facility in Nevada and even open it to the public. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. He has. The whole purpose of this is to educate the public. If they could find out the plight of these exquisite animals, they would get behind this. He actually is the only person in America that is licensed to walk into Walmart with a black panther and let the kids play with it. And I will say that the panther can open a bottle of Dos Equis.
Come on.
Honest to God.
Well, you brought it up, so I have to ask you, not to minimize the importance of the Sabre Foundation, whose website is sabrefoundation.org.
Thank you.
You do play the actor that is the most interesting man in the world as part of the Dos Equis campaign. I mean, honestly,
it would be
Mr.
wonderful.
Suave in my presence.
Well, it's very nice. People say, how did you ever get it? Because they know me.
Just between us.
Between,
how did you get it?
Nobody will know?
No one
if
will
I
know.
tell you?
Yeah. How did
terrific.
It happen?
Well, I got a call one day. We call them cattle calls. Go down. They're looking for some Latino type, suave, this, that.
Yeah, Mr. Goldsmith. Very, very Latino.
Right on the nose.
Exactly.
My uncle who founded Yeshiva in Brooklyn is very proud of me. So I went to the call, and there were 400 fellows looking more like Juan Valdez than I did.
Right.
And I promptly forgot about it, and I told my agent, why did you send me on something that I was so wrong for? A month later, another call went back. They were much diminished, and as far as the attendees, there were now 200.
Right.
And another improvisation for an hour. I was worried about getting a ticket out on La Brea.
Right.
Hurried up, went through it, don't even remember it, forgot about it. Another month. Went back, there were just 2 other people besides myself.
And you?
They did a makeup, full test, and
you got it.
I was the lucky guy.
3 years later, it's still running. We congratulate you, and thank you so much for the work you're doing on the Sabre Foundation.
And thanks for helping us,
Absolutely.
Brad.
For Local Edition, I'm Brad Pomerantz. We'll send you back to CNN HLN.
Hello, I'm Tracy Young, news anchor for Charter Communications, CNN Headline News, Local Edition. If you missed any of these interviews, you can always watch them through Charter's video on demand, free, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. To access all of Charter Communications Local Edition interviews on VOD, please go to Charter's Channel 1, click on Community Interest, and then click on Government and Public Affairs. And thank you for being a Charter customer.